Man United 1, West Ham 0. In a game that kicked off at extra time, to be honest. What a bad performance. What a bad performance. Rotation needed. You can't say fairer than that. Rotation needed. I said I liked the team at the beginning. But there was just aspects of it that just really didn't work, especially with how West Ham actually ended up attacking the game. Do you know what I mean? For me, West Ham was so deep. I didn't expect them to be that deep. They were without a recognised striker, and they packed out their midfield with players who weren't really trying to bomb on. Their fullbacks weren't going forward. They were playing really within themselves, and we struggled with that. Very dissimilar to when we played against Southampton. They went down to 10 men. That sharpness, that intensity of how we moved the ball was missing today. Why? I think because of the personnel. I think the Matic and Fred combination didn't help us today. I really don't think it did. We just struggled to break West Ham down. And when they're not playing attacking midfielders and they're not playing a striker, the fact that we had two defensive midfielders sitting there and then two centre halves just behind that didn't help our cause at all. The wingers, I think when Rashford was getting the ball, he had 2-3 guys around him, especially in the first half. Same with Mason Greenwood, although he looked a little bit brighter. Martial was kind of smothered. He was trying to get into it, but it wasn't really happening. It wasn't really happening for him. And Donny as well. Donny's the Van Beek situation is weird because I think we're seeing where Solskjaer wants to use him, because he could have played in a 6 or an 8 today to give that fluidity, to give that intensity in the passing, not to drift forward and arrive late. But he's playing him in the 10, and it's kind of like he's saying, you're the Bruno replacement if Bruno's not going to play. And Donny, I'm not going to say he struggled today, but he found it difficult to really have a strong impact on the game. But it's about understanding what Donny's game is. And Donny's game is simplicity. Donny's game is playing little intricate passes and playing the safer pass or the most intelligent pass and not looking for the Hollywood. And he just doesn't play the way Bruno plays. And I think there's a mixture of, one, he's out of form. The guy's only started, it was his 11th start of the season, in which most of the games he gets taken off, hardly competes 90 minutes. He's been dragged from pillar to post. He's not confident. And in the back of his head, he knows that he could drop a 10 out of 10 and still get hooked for the next game. As well as, like I said about the 90 minutes, that picture of Donny when the board's going up for the substitution, that just tells you everything. He's just looking, saying, I know it's me. Like, I know it's me coming off. And it was. So I don't think that helped. And Ollie's reluctance to change it for so long, again, well, I want to say surprised me, but it's something that we do see from Ollie quite a lot, is waiting quite a while to make the substitutions. You could see the pattern of that game was never going to change. It looked like we could have been out there for another 90 minutes plus extra time before obviously Scott scored that. We wouldn't score. It just had that feel like, wow, it doesn't look like anything's going to change. It's like just going to go to penalties. Because even when the subs come on, I think Van der Beek going off, and I remember McTominay came on and Cavani came on. Did it help us? I'd say it did. I'd say it did. Matic going off too, I think that helped us. We had to break up that midfield to pivot. I want to talk about Scott McTominay, because Scott McTominay, I think we're starting to see the best of Scott McTominay. I think McTominay, when he gets the right license to go and do his thing, I think that's when we see the best of him. McTominay's taken a lot of criticism. I've been one of the people to criticise McTominay when I don't think he's done his job very well as a defensive midfielder. I don't think his natural thing is to sniff out the danger, his positioning. But to be fair to him, maybe that's because that's not his best position. Well, it isn't his best position. And maybe you've got to look at the coaching staff for that. I think they're trying to make him into something he's not. I think what McTominay gives you when you allow him to have his game is he can break up play. He can be combative. His passing is decent. His engine's obviously fantastic. But arriving late and the way he can strike a ball and his knack for having that third man run, like that Lampard kind of esque run. And I'm not putting him in Lampard bracket, but I mean the principle of arriving late at the edge of the box. He's proved that. And we've got to give him props, because he's in his best scoring season now. You know, was it 8 goals, I think, for the season, unless I'm mistaken. He's doing really well. He's doing really well. So I like him in that role. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops or how he keeps being deployed, especially if we get another centre-back and or another defensive midfielder next to him. If we had a quality defensive midfielder next to Scott McTominay, I think that we could start to see even more from him. So I did like that. The Rashford situation was weird because you guys have seen what Ricky said, and I disagreed with a lot of what he said. But then on the fan forum, you saw what they were saying about Martial, and I kind of had to defend Martial a little bit. And then it's all about opinions. But for me, I think Marcus Rashford didn't have a good game, just like many others didn't. But he gives the moment, and that's what Marcus Rashford is finding quite consistent. The game before, he didn't play particularly well against Everton. Crosses for Cavani, does his job. So I think that's a common theme with Rashford. But I just think it's really easy for me. I see it as you've got to embrace the things that he needs to improve on. But what I respect about what Marcus is doing is that he might need to improve on these things, but he's still having a say on what happens in the game. That's not by luck. He isn't doing that by luck. He's doing that because he has ability. Do you know what I mean? He's doing that because he's a good player. His numbers are what they are because he's a good player. But the deficiencies in his game is because he's still not there yet. Do you know what I mean? He's still got gears to go up. And Martial, I don't think was awful today. I really don't. I don't think he was awful. I think he looked after the ball well. He kept getting into decent positions. The only thing missing from his game right now is the goals. And when you do play number 9, you need the goals. You really need the goals. I've been a big advocate for Cavani starting, and I think we're a better balanced team, and he's number 9. I still stand by that. So Martial's got to deal with that. I challenge Martial to kind of give that response of Cavani arriving. How are you going to react to that? And he got the nod early on. It was Martial playing, and then a real bad start to the season. He kind of made it, and then the suspension, and then he wasn't really good after that. It's like he kind of made it easy for Cavani to come into this team because it wasn't like Martial was tearing up trees in the number 9 position. So I think that Martial can come good. He's proved he can score goals. There's a player in there. But there is going to come a time where it's like, as the number 9, when Cavani maybe goes after next season, if he doesn't extend and we don't get forward, we're going to have to look at it and say, but we just need someone prolific. I get that. But Martial is not our problems. And I just don't see the hate. I can get the criticism because, I can see why we're better off with Cavani there. But in today's game, like I was saying to KG, I don't think Martial was as worse than anyone else. Do you know what I mean? If Rashford doesn't get that assist, I don't know if buts and maybes because he did get the assist, but if he didn't, his game was probably worse than Martial's. That where he picks up the ball and drives just into players with no end product is really frustrating. But you have to embrace the flaws because you know what he gives you. And I'm just able to do that, so I don't get that mad about it. But I feel like some people are like, nah, he keeps doing that. He's rubbish. He's this, he's that. I'm like, really? Like, how does he get these numbers then? How's his numbers basically the same as Sterling's? But Sterling's world class. I get it, the eye test and stuff like that. But as long as he's doing his job, it's like the Bruno situation. Some people who want to slate Bruno because he gives the ball away, he does this, he does that. When you have that much say on the game, you're not going to, it's basically like, you can't talk to me. Well, who else is doing it then? What, do you think Dan James is going to come in and put them numbers up or impact the game like that? Do you think Matt is going to do it from the right-hand side? You might be able to go and buy another winger who you think might do it. But right now at the club, if you take Marcus Rashford out of our team, whether it's from the left or the right, wherever, we lose a lot. We lose a lot. And any defender will tell you that too. So I'm not having this Rashford crap. He's this, he's that, because embrace his flaws, encouraging it to improve them. And Marcus will know what he needs to improve on. But come on, to say he shouldn't be playing for us and shit like that. I personally just don't get it. But the main thing was obviously getting through today. It was a bore fest. It was really bad. It was like the old Man United. It was like the Van Gaal or the Mourinho times at stages today. But give Scott McTominay his flowers, man, because I think he is really coming into his own. And also it shows today as well, when Bruno doesn't play, man, people drop Bruno, we'll be better balanced with this, we'll be better balanced with that. I know I defended Van der Beek and looked at the reasons why he didn't have a great game and why when he keeps coming in, he might be coming in cold and not playing well. We're a way better team with Bruno in it. Like, that's just drop it. You can say it says more about us as a team that we're so reliant on one player and all that, but we're a way better team, guys. Like, come on, let's just stop with that. Bruno has to play. for Man United to play. It's just the way it is right now. Till we keep evolving as a team, till we get different targets in the summer, hopefully, might get a Jack Grealish, might get a whoever, attacking players who can do more. Ahmad might start to come into it. Until then, it remains Bruno must play. It's as simple as that. West Brom on the weekend. After seeing how we've performed against teams in the bottom three this season, that game is a concern. I'm not going to lie. The form that we're in, I know people will look at it and say we should have enough, this, that, and the other. We did it once already, disrespecting the team, or the players didn't turn up against a team fighting for their lives in Sheffield United, who had the worst record in Premier League history by that stage of the season. And we lost. When we played against Fulham, it was very tight, very narrow. When we played against Sheffield United the first time, it was tight as now. When we played against Brighton, it was tight. So our track record doesn't suggest that we go and blow these teams away. We don't blow any teams away. So I think it's going to be a difficult game. Although West Brom do look poor, they're fighting. And any team is fighting for their lives is a danger. So we have to win. You can't afford to keep dropping any more points. City are flying. Even if you're not looking at a title race, just for our own thing, we've got Leicester on our heels. We need to just keep winning games and keep putting games to bed. Or try to put games to bed, but keep winning games. That's what we need to do. My man of the match, I know Jermaine Genius gave it to Harry Maguire. Don't mind, I like Jermaine Genius. But come on, man. Nah, not for me today. I thought Tellez was bright. Tellez was bright, especially first half. But I'd probably give it to Scott McTominay just because the game was that bad. And he's going from strength to strength in that type of position when he's playing more advanced and he's getting his goals, getting his flowers. So Scott McTominay, man of the match for me. We go again Sunday. Big game. Peace.